Jim Holley, Supercross Live on supercrossonline.com, here with Racer X Jason Weigandt, my former partner. But you saw our feet. That's how deep these ruts were on the approach to the triple, no less. And Jason, we called the race here last year, and we came down and we walked the whoops because these guys were picking their feet up. I mean, this track was hard, and I asked Kevin Windham, finished up second tonight. I asked him, I said, Kevin, which was harder, 10 or 11? He goes, you know what? I gotta say 11 was pretty hard.
Really?
Well, a different hardness. You know, I mean, last year you just had the whoops you really had to deal with, and the triples didn't get this bad because remember it was raining. I mean, the track here in Seattle was soft, but your thoughts on that lights, another win for Cole Seeley, and I thought myself that him riding that 450, it looked like he came here and was ready to race.
Yeah, I think you're really seeing a difference with Cole Seeley compared to who he was just a year ago. You know, he wasn't a guy that came out of the amateur ranks, heralded with a lot of championships. It's taken him a little while to get that confidence, but now that he has it, got some good finishes last year, started the year out strong. Once he got that win in LA, I think every time he goes to the gate, he figures there is no reason that I can't beat these guys. And if he gets it in the right circumstances, which he did, gets a whole shot, I don't think he's worried about Tickle or Tomac or Hansen or anybody in that class, and it showed. They're battling for the title. He wasn't worried about them. He pulled away from all of them as if they weren't even there.
Yeah, at one point, I believe it was lap 3, he was pulling away, he made a mistake, and I thought, well, Tickle's going to put the pressure on, but he pulled out. But Brock Tickle succumbed to the pressure a little bit. He ended up making a little bobble and getting third, but he's got that championship lead. They got a little bit of a weekend off, but Eli Tomac chomping at the bit, didn't have such a good heat race, but finished up second tonight for Tomac. And poor Hansen, I mean, he injured himself in the whoops in practice. Just a gallant effort to try and stay in that top 5, but unfortunately just a little bit out of that top 5 for Hansen.
Tomac took a long time to get going, not just a bad start, but even in the main, he wasn't really making waves early on. And once he found his groove, he was really coming on strong. Seeley had such a big lead, he really wasn't a factor to try to win the race. But man, did he make up time on Brock Tickle in a hurry. 2-3 seconds a lap, immediately got by. And I think for a lot of these guys, Tickle was mentioning arm pump. He was coming off an injury. Tomac had an injury he's coming off of. Hansen. There was a big break for a lot of these guys. You throw some injuries in, I think it was kind of like Anaheim 1 jitters with arm pump and nerves. The only guy who didn't have to worry about that was the guy who you mentioned, rode the 450 during the interim, and that was Seeley. He was the only guy that looked like he brought his A game tonight. Everybody else had some trouble here and there.
Well, Seeley takes 2 in his career, 2 this year with a win, followed up by Tomac in second. Third was going to be Brock Tickle, who now takes the point lead on the West. Fourth was the man that I thought that, you know, put in a great ride, and he was on a podium position. That's Kyle Cunningham, ends up in that 4th position. But that Supercross class, I mean, it is going down to Las Vegas. James Stewart, 5 wins now, 2 in a row, and only 9 points out of that championship. And Chad Reed only sits 6 points behind Villopoto. But what a great win for James Stewart. And Kevin Windham, the old 33-year-old veteran, finishes up in second. And third, Chad Reed handed Kevin Windham that gift, making that mistake.
Yeah, you know, first of all, James Stewart 16 points behind, and 4th place in the series coming in as one. You're like, come on, 4th place, can you really jump over that many guys with only 3 races? But obviously it can be done. You can't do the math now and say that Villopoto is automatically going to get second in these next couple of races, and if Stewart wins out, he won't catch him. There are no guarantees of 2nd or 3rd place finishes in this series. So if James Stewart wins out, we know he's fast enough, he's proven it the last 2 rounds, he might be in the driver's seat, even though he's 4th place in this series right now. Everyone else had an up and down race. Windham had a pretty solid run. Reed was good until the end, a big crash. Villopoto and Dungey down off of the start. It is a mess out there right now. Starts to look to me like Stewart got the bad luck out of the way, and now the other guys are swinging back their direction. He's looking good.
Well, the only thing Stewart can do is just win the last 2 rounds and see what happens before. And we thought that with Trey Kennard being out with that broken femur that, you know, it doesn't matter if Trey's in there or not. I mean, these guys are still going to go on and battle all the way to Las Vegas. And like you said, I think starts are very important, and they're going to be key in these next 2 rounds. But the thing that I noticed is all these guys been battling hard in that Supercross class, 15 races in a row. They finally got a weekend off for Easter to think about things, and then we're going to regroup and go to Salt Lake City and Las Vegas.
You know, it depends on who you talk to. I talked to Reed last weekend, and he said, at this point, I wish we didn't have that break. Everybody's going to be tempted to do outdoor stuff, which really it's impossible to get in the outdoor mindset right now when you know that every little millimeter is going to count in this Supercross championship. He just wants to race it out. And I wouldn't be surprised if the other guys feel that way right now. Like, there's no time to rest. You can't rest in this situation. You got to keep going at it and going at it hard. So
well, I did talk to James Stewart. He says he was going to go to the Bahamas with the family on the weekend off.
All right, well, he's the one winning the last 2 rounds. He doesn't have anything to worry about. The other guys got stuff to work on. So we will see how that changes things up. I would think if you're one of these guys, to live with that kind of pressure for an off weekend and not be able to do a single thing about it, they'd probably just like to go out to the racetrack and do some business.
All right, well, that's it here from Quest Field in Seattle, Washington. We're done. We get a weekend off. Me and Jason, our camera guy, Dave Arnold, he gets a weekend off. Well, maybe he might do a wedding or two. I don't know. He always likes to work. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks in Salt Lake City.